Should be. Glenn, are you on?
The video is working. Good to go.
Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to our July 13th reorg board meeting for the 26-27 school year. You go through the process, Kathy?
All right, if you could please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we would like to have the board members, you all have your oath of office. If you could please all read that together. Okay. We'll start.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of office of Board of Education member.
Would like to administer the oath to Mr. Siddon. If you would please read your oath.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of Superintendent of Schools of the West Canada Valley Central School District.
All right, at this time, I am going to ask for a nomination for President of the Board of Education. Do we have any nominations? Yes, Mr. Henry.
I would like to nominate Shauna Harrington.
Are there any other nominations for President? I'll second. And you'll second? All right, be it resolved that Shauna Harrington is elected as the, oh, we have to vote, I apologize. Can we vote on that, please? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so it's resolved that Shauna Harrington is elected as President of the Board of Education for the fiscal 26-27 school year.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of President of the Board of Education of the West Canada Valley Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
Education, the West Canyon Valley Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
Next on the agenda is board appointments. Following individuals listed below to the designated service area. Oh, yeah. Okay, board appointments of officers, clerk of the board, Daphne Ramo.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of District Clerk of the West Canada Valley Central School District.
Next, we have acting superintendent, Mr. Broadbent. And then, district treasurer, Kelly Crossett. Tax collector, Jill McCree. And internal claims auditor, Barbara Smith. Motion to appoint the following.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my abilities, the duties of the office of District Treasurer of the West Canada Valley Central School District.
Motion to appoint the following. Sarah first, Janine second. All in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Next, we have, school physician services. That's the healthcare network, primary urgent care. School attorneys, Durbin and Farrell Lazio, Christine Barclay, Damon LLC. School district auditor, reaffirm the appointment of Weston Company. Central treasurer auditor, Barbara Smith. Fiscal advisor, Dr. Timms. District data management, Daphne Ramo. CSE CPSE chairperson, Emily Lumen. Official for bid opening, superintendent and the business manager. Data protection officer is the superintendent. Affirmative action entitled 9 officers, superintendent. LEA asbestos designee, Dennis Lynch. Pesticide representative, Shelley Maxwell. Medicare Part D management, Kelly Crossett. Dignity Act coordinators, Rebecca Wood. Rita Judo, Janelle Diost, Glenn Broadbent, Christy Nofree. Arts and Education, Shane Bonney. Chief Emergency Officer, the Superintendent. Workplace Violence Designated Official, Superintendent. Workplace Violence Designated Alternate is Mr. Broadbent. And Chemical Hygiene Officer is Victoria Petro. Motion to appoint them. Shannon first, Ed second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Motion, to designate the following for the fiscal 26-27 school year. Official bank depositories, NBT Bank, NA and M&T Bank. Official newspaper, the Observer Dispatch. And the following, Board of Education meeting dates and times. Records management and access officers, superintendent. Records appeal designee is to be determined by the board on a case-by-case basis. Residency determination official, superintendent. The 504 coordinator is the chairperson on special education. Motion to appoint the following. Ed first, Sarah, the district holidays. Sorry, that was on the next page. Any questions? No. Motion to appoint Janine first, Sarah second, all in favor? In favor? Committee on Special Education. Have a motion to authorize the following membership for the fiscal 26-27 school year. The CSD chairperson, school psychologists, building administrators, regular education teachers, special education teachers, related service providers, guidance counselors, parents or persons in parental relationship to the student, student if appropriate, and school physician if requested. Sarah first, Ed second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. A motion to authorize the following membership for the fiscal 26-27 school year on the Committee on Preschool Special Education. CPSE chairperson, school psychologists, building administrators, regular education teachers, special education teachers and providers, related service providers, parents or persons in parental relationship to the child, professionals designated by early intervention agencies charged with the responsibility of the preschool child, school physician, and parent member, and the municipality representative. Janine first. And the impartial hearing officers and Sarah the parents. And the central drop point. Any questions? Motion to appoint? Janine first, Ed second, all in favor? Motion to approve the authorization of the following for the fiscal 26-27 school year for board authorizations. Payroll certifications, superintendent, establish petty cash funds, designation and authorized signatures on checks. This is school district treasurer, purchasing agent, superintendent, mileage allowance, Board of Education authorizes. Read on that. And for internal revenue services, mileage rates to staff members who use personal vehicle for school business with authorization of the superintendent. Transfer of funds, signature of national food service programs. The certification, authorization, verification officer, OHM BOCES to be announced. And hearing officer is the school business manager. Also is the district rates of pay. Shannon first, Sarah second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Next, we have the bonding of personnel. Motion to bond the following personnel for the fiscal 26-27 school year. District treasurer in the amount of $1 million. District tax collector in the amount of $1 million. Audit committee in the amount of $100,000. All other employees, including internal claims auditor, is the amount of $100,000. Sarah first, Janine second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Next, we have records access copying fee, approval of conferences, adoption of policies, and adoption of district code of conduct. A motion to authorize the following for the fiscal 26-27 school year. Records access copying fee, 25 cents per copy. Authorization to approve conferences. Superintendent is hereby authorized to approve all regular day and overnight conference attendance in keeping with the Board of Education policy, contractual obligations, and budgetary considerations. Number 3, adoption of policies in effect during the previous fiscal year. Board of Education approves the adoption of the Board of Education policy manual as currently constituted. And 4, approval of the following tellers for the school vote elections. Janine first, Ed second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed.
I got a question.
Sure.
Jeremy, can you elaborate more going back, transfer of funds? What does that mean? When would you do that?
Transfer of funds is something Kelly usually does through bank accounts and things like that. So she has the authority to transfer funds from one account to another when needed.
Our federal grant money all comes into general fund, and then I have to transfer it to our federal specialty fund and to our capital fund, or wherever it's appropriate that it goes. That's all that is.
And then it goes to your desk for approval.
Well,
He's copied on the transfers at the bank,
I get it.
You get an email?
Every transfer that goes on in this place, I get an email with the date and time and the money was transferred.
Thank you.
So,
Motion to adjourn for the organizational meeting. Sarah first, Renee second, all in favor? Okay, all in favor. All right, moving right along, we have, our regular monthly meeting. Starting with, administrative reports. Nelson, would you like to begin?
Sure. So we had a great finish to the end of the school year. We had pre-K and grade 6 moving up ceremonies. They went very well. The students all had the opportunity to meet their new teachers prior to leaving for summer vacation. So that all went well. Currently, our pre-K registration still remains at 36 students registered. Kindergarten, we currently have 53 students registered for the fall, 13 of which did not attend our pre-K program. We also have 2 new students transferring in the fall, 1 in 1st grade and 1 in 3rd grade. We're exploring something new for our 5th and 6th graders next year. For the 26-27 year, we're going to pilot a new instructional model, which we'll be using all of our current staff, but we've developed kind of a departmentalized middle school model to help students prepare more when they move on to middle school for next year. And that also helps a little bit with staffing. This year we'll have 2 sections of 5th grade, 3 sections of 6th grade. The following year we'll have 3 and 2. The following year after that we'll have 2 and 3. So we can really maximize all of our staff. So what we've decided to try, and again, this is a pilot, we want to see how it goes. We can always make changes as needed. We have 1 teacher teaching all the science, 1 teacher teaching all the social studies, 2 teachers will be sharing the math, and 2 will be sharing the ELA. So I did provide you with an example of what that schedule would look like. But really, there seem to be some benefits, just helping with the transition to middle school, preparing them to be more organized, more independent, more responsible, because they will be moving classes. They have daily opportunities for intervention and enrichment, and we're maximizing our instructional time, and we're supporting some flexible student grouping to really target instruction. Does anybody have any questions on the schedules?
I was very impressed with 6th grade coming up. It was excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well behaved, nicely done. Pre-K, I always just cross my fingers. But that's, it went really well.
Just one quick question with the schedule. So you've got 2 sharing math and ELA.
Yes.
And just, it looked at the ELA. Are you having 1 do all 5th grade and 1, or, you know what I'm saying?
So
you have
for
2, so one's
math-
gonna be in charge of 6th grade and the other math is gonna be 5th. just
So
5th grade.
math, they're actually sharing a combination of the 5th and 6th grade. So we have Mrs. Reddington and Mrs. Ludwig who will be sharing both of
Okay,
those.
so they'll be, okay.
Yes, so they'll be working together.
And then they'll have the same kids, like the 5th grade, they'll have them again in 6th grade. So that's a
Yes.
bonus too.
It is, absolutely.
Were those teachers involved in
Yes.
coming up with that
Yeah,
pilot?
absolutely. Yeah.
How are you gonna assess it? Like,
We'll kind of just see how the students are going, teacher feedback, how they feel like things are going, if we feel like anything needs to change, do we need to, what are the positives, what are some things we need to fix so that we can become stronger. So, and even student as well as assessments, how the students are doing with the model as well. Otherwise, what would happen is we'd have a teacher constantly flip-flopping back and forth grade levels for the
Right.
next couple of years too.
I have
I'm
a question.
excited. Sure.
I can't find the chart now, but the question was, oh, oops. course, I worked in the system that had this for 50 years. Your relation was in it too.
Yes.
I don't understand the specials being back-to-back. How's that gonna work?
They're
If
just.
I'm reading it
Sure.
correctly.
They're scheduled that day. It may not be every single day. So, the teachers do have double special 3 out of a 6-day rotation. So they do have a, double special built in. And then there's other days where the teachers will have their own students in the room. So it's not, that block right there wouldn't be every day for the 6th day.
That's my question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
You want to elaborate on your summer projects?
Sure. I just wanna make sure, does anybody have any other questions on the proposed model? And then I put a list of just a variety of things that I'm working on this summer. I'm working on building and finalizing the national schedule, developing teacher data folders.
What does that mean?
Our teacher data folders, in there, I take student assessments, and it can be sometimes I'm given some, of the New York State data that's released to us. It's still embargo, so we can't share it out yet, but I can look at our standards, how our students have done, so I will take that standards work and we look at grows and glows, how are we doing, where do we need to work on. I use our STAR assessments, so I look at that and I put together folders for each grade level, how our students are doing, what are some of our strengths, what are some of the things that we need to keep working on, how can we look at our current math and our current reading programs and where we really need to focus with our students. So I put folders together for the teachers at the beginning of the year so they can look at all that and help them plan their instruction. I'm also working on updating our MTSS documentation in intervention services, so.
Can you explain that?
Sure, that's our multi-tiered system of supports, and in there, I do have a document, it just talks about what our tier 1 instruction is, what is our core instruction in reading and math, what our intervention is, what we're using, what are our assessments we're using, how often we're monitoring students' progress, what data we're looking at when students need to move tiers. So if a student is struggling in tier 1, they'll get some tier 2 intervention. They're struggling with tier 2, they'll get tier 3 intervention. What that looks like, how often, what are some resources that we use to target the students' needs at those
Don't
levels.
interrupt you. Is there a timeline when you look in on students' progress?
Yes, so I like to do it by number of sessions. So a lot of times I will say, we're going to try a student at tier 2, and we're going to do this for, I'm gonna say, 10 sessions. Because if I say 6 weeks, well, the student may be absent, they may have the flu, so out of that 6 weeks, they may be out, there may be snow days in there may be vacations, and when you break it down, that student may have only had 3 or 4 sessions, and that's not really, and they come back and say, well, they're not making progress. Well, I'm looking at their attendance, I'm looking at all these interruptions, so I like to do sessions now. Teachers have calendars, they have little, I make them these little calendars where they can mark the student was present, or if they didn't see them during the session, why, there was a school-wide assembly, or we had a snow day, or something in there. So I'm always working on updating that and improving that for the teachers. And really just looking at our curriculum, I'm working on our financial literacy and how we can incorporate that into our current math program right now. And just overall operations of the building, what can we update, what can we make and improve the efficiency and consistency throughout the building.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Broadbent.
Sure.
Yeah, so I wasn't here at the last board meeting. I was on the senior trip. Seniors went to Hershey Park, Jersey Shore. Overall, it was a good trip. Kids really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the trip. good weather throughout, so that was good. Came back, we had a couple Regents exams, English and Algebra 2 that same week. The reason they were early is because they were new tests. So the kids took the new test. And then we had a underground staff spirit week, which we stole from the elementary. One of my teachers was like, that sounds like fun. Can we do it? I'm like, have at it. So, you know, anything but a water bottle, dress like a student, flannel Friday, Secret Service Day. The kids thought it was Men in Black Day. And then teacher on summer vacation, floaties, swim goggles, you know, Hawaiian shirts, all that kind of stuff.
I enjoyed the flannel Friday when it was 92 degrees.
So, you know, that kind of stuff just helps with teacher morale, like forms relationships with the kids and stuff. So, you know, it's really good. We do a luncheon every month in the high school where we bring food in. So that kind of stuff, just to kind of, you know, work together, enjoy each other, and, you know, be more family-like. We had our honors ceremony June 11th. Then Friday, the day after, 8th grade trip to Great Escape. Again, great trip. Kids were extremely well behaved on that trip. You know, no issues. And then the next day we had the Violet Festival in Dodgeville. Again, nice day. Kids did a great job. Really enjoyed it. We had our last day of school, senior walk. You know, invited the community to come in. Kids walked out and walked by them on the track. Just kind of that one last thing. Pretty good turnout to that. We had the BOCES completion ceremony at HCCC on the same day. A lot of our students completed their BOCES track certifications and stuff like that on that night. The next night we had the athletic banquet here. Again, you know, Tina and everybody that helped out did an awesome job with that. Great turnout. And then we started with Regents exams on that day, pretty much through the last day of school. You know, teachers were either proctoring, grading, pretty much that was.
What's proctoring mean?
So you have to sit in a room and watch the kids take a test for 3 to 6 hours depending on the room, and you just walk around, make sure they're not cheating, make sure they're following procedures. So, you know, they're literally there just to make sure the test goes smoothly. And I always put at least 2 people in a room, just for security reasons. You know, there's no accusations that anybody cheated. You got more people watching the kids. The kid has to take a bathroom break. So there was days where we had 10 different rooms going. So it's a lot of staff tied up just for proctoring, and staff that weren't proctoring were grading the exam so we could get the scores in before the end of the school year. So it's a real busy week here. We had graduation rehearsal on the 22nd, and then graduation on the Saturday the 27th. One thing we talked about at the end of the year is we're going to remove the one-to-one Chromebooks for 7th and 8th graders. We're going to go back to a more traditional classroom teaching style. We're hoping that that helps with reducing distractions, increasing performance, academic achievement. We will still have Chromebooks in some of the classrooms, so if the teachers want to use them, they can. We're going to have some Chromebook carts for the teachers that don't use them a lot, but use them once in a while. We think that's going to help with reduce damage of Chromebooks, better achievement, and just overall organization. Yeah, of course.
And this has been going on. I think when COVID hit back in 20, it was, let's get the Chromebooks to students. And in one breath, we're talking about limiting screen time with the cell phones and things like that. I think sometimes pulling, and this was conversation, the teachers were on board. I think that we're losing, the kids without the cell phones have now garnered that they can do the same exact thing on their talk to friends, things like that. So I'm excited to see where this goes, because this could be something where we tend to move it up too, if it goes well with the 7th and 8th graders. Some of our students can't handle the Chromebook, the damages, the losing of Chromebooks, the losing of chargers. It's all costing money. So let's see what this does, and maybe gets more of a conversation too in the classroom.
I think it's a great idea, and it sounds like it's gonna be one of New York State's next big pushes, so.
We can
we're
get out
getting
front of
ahead
that, we
it.
will.
Hey, look, I'm all about getting rid of electronic stuff, I'll be honest with you. I do pen and paper, chalkboard, right? That's what we did.
Our kids can't write because now they type.
So true. And spell.
My 14-year-old son can sign in cursive, he can't read and write, so it's like. So, 7th and 8th grade, you're gonna get rid of it, what are we gonna do with 9th grade, now you're gonna throw it on over 9th grade?
Well, they'll still use it in 7th and 8th grade, just
A little bit, yeah.
They'll have classroom sets, so if the teacher says, okay, we're gonna do a Chromebook assignment, they'll have access to the Chromebooks. It's always important to start out small with these types of projects, and then if it goes well, then we can expand it. But there's gonna be growing pains, because they've now had them at their fingertips for the last 4 or 5 years.
You mentioned the senior trip, is it 2 days or 1 day?
It was 2 days, it was an overnight. Yeah, first day was Hershey Park, we stayed at a hotel about 5 minutes from Hershey Park. And then we got up the next morning, about 9 o'clock-ish, and left to Jersey Shore. Was it Point Pleasant or Jenkinson Boardwalk there? I've seen it on TV like all over the place now.
Jersey Shore.
Never heard of it, other than Jersey Shore the show, but it's popping up everywhere. Really enjoyed it. You know, some of the kids actually like that more than they like the Hershey Park.
Sure.
So it was just more relaxing, slower pace kind of day. Went to the aquarium there, ate ice cream, ate food, sat on the beach, you know, just kind of, you know, it was a good day. We had a foreign exchange student coming next year, female student from Germany. So that's something, you know, that, you know, it's kind of exciting. Currently, we're working on scheduling. You know, it's going to be goals to have scheduling done by this 3rd week of August. It's a lot harder this year, less staff, some holes that we need to try to fill, and just so we're working on that. Mrs. Wood is here, you know, she'll be spending a lot of time working on that.
Going back to the 7th and 8th grade, is it in all departments?
Yeah, all departments were.
All English, science,
Yeah.
social studies?
Yeah, they'll still have to use the test for STAR testing, which is like our, you know, we do it 3 times a year to just check on their progress. They'll use it for state tests, they'll practice on it for their state test, and occasionally they'll use it. But we're really gonna, and Mrs. Bonnie, she's in the back, you can't see her on camera, but we're gonna try to push a literacy movement again this year as well. And part of taking away the Chromebook, especially for the younger kids, is to promote more reading and writing handwritten and not being looking at the screen. So we got a lot of good stuff that we're gonna work on. Try to get test scores up and just overall get kids reading more, is the idea.
It's all data-based as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And you can see schools around the country are starting to pull back on Chromebooks at all levels. You know, he said don't use electronics, but use this every period, every day, and then do your homework at home. And it's kind of a mixed message. So, you know, when I brought it to the middle school teachers, you know, they're on board with it. And they were kind of excited. Some were like, well, I kind of use them, but we're, you know, I think as we transition out, they'll realize that they're really not needed. So, yeah. And then just the last thing is I thank all our donors who give scholarships for our seniors. You know, we're getting more and more scholarships. You know, kids really appreciate it, and the school district really appreciates everybody who, you know, donates to our kids and helps them to start in college and life and trade.
Graduation was well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Any questions?
Yeah, you mentioned the Regents.
Yep.
2 new exams. Is New York State moving away from that though?
So you would think if you're talking about getting rid of regents, you wouldn't be creating them.
Yeah.
So we actually had more than 2 new ones. So these are 2 new ones that were just given this year. But we also gave living environment is no longer living environment, it's biology. So we gave biology this year, and, you know, there was questions on the regions that had no right answers for New York State. You know, literally every answer was wrong, didn't matter what, didn't get it back. And then they had keys for chemistry, 4 of the first 7 answers on the key was wrong. So New York State's got some issues with the regents, and, you know, it's out there.
Nice that it went pretty hard to New York State this year, because they are kind of saying that these tests were AI generated. So that's just the going theme. There's a lot of money that's being spent on testing. So I know that NICET's hitting state ed pretty hard right now with what are we doing?
Good.
And it needs to happen, because our teachers are teaching the curriculum. They're utilizing whether it's next gen standards or whatever standards that the state is giving us, and then the tests are the furthest thing from the curriculum. So I'm kind of interested to see where this goes, and it's got to be fixed eventually. You have a valid point, with the portrait of a graduate, our students in the cohort of 27, 28 won't have the same high school diploma as, say, a student that graduated this year. Because there's gonna be different pathways. They aren't going completely away from the regions, it's just gonna be one pathway to obtain that diploma. So it's not the say all end all like we currently have.
Right.
And to be clear, it's the tests are not gonna disappear, because federally, you're required to English, math, science. So those tests are still gonna exist. The kids are gonna still take them. The problem with it is it's gonna turn into like 3 through 8 testing, where it's not gonna necessarily be needed for graduation, but the kid's gonna have to take it. So if the kid doesn't take it serious like they do with the 3 through 8 testing, we have kids who finish the 3 through 8 test in 8 minutes. Of course, our test scores are gonna be low if you have kids finishing it in the time that, you know, you read the directions. So
That's happened now.
that's gonna
You get a
create.
Regents, but when you have a Regents and a kid takes it, or we have a student that finishes in 9 minutes, how much seriousness was brought forth on this test? And they don't understand. I mean, I feel very strongly saying that we have fantastic educators throughout this building that take the time, they go over, they have review, and then we have students that come in and spend 10 minutes and they're like, I'm done. And they have to sit there for another hour and 55 minutes, or 2 hours and 55 minutes, because you have to be in the room. So that's
Often it reflects on our teachers.
Yeah.
The good thing with the state test is I can see exactly when it's computerized, so I can see when they start it and when they end it. So, I mean, if you were to take out all those outliers, kids who spent like less than 20 minutes on a 2-hour test, your teachers' passing rates, score rates would be much higher. So I mean, and that's an issue across the state. And then you have, we've actually improved a lot on the opt-out rate, but we still have some families that opt their kids out of the test, which negatively impacts the school. And often for no other reason than my kid doesn't feel like taking the test, which I don't know anybody here who likes taking tests.
Yes, anyway, he's good as a test.
But also, we've seen a huge, where these opt-outs, when they came hot and heavy, we saw a huge correlation with the opt-outs and kids doing poorly on the Regents because there's no testing. They've never taken a test. And I had a 9th grade parent call me one time and say, I'm opting my child out of algebra and earth science. And I was like, well, they won't graduate. What do you mean? This isn't 3A testing. But their child hadn't taken any of the 3A through the whole process. And by the time they took that first Regents, they didn't do well because they never sat down for more than a 40-minute test.
And it really hurts your college level students.
Because, yeah, you're on your own. You need to study the material to be prepared.
Do we know when the embargo will be lifted?
It's usually August,
August?
right?
It depends. Last year it wasn't until October. Last year I
Well, for
remember
so 3 through 8 testing,
Yes.
the embargo is
I'm sorry.
October.
Yes.
Regents exam, I think, is usually August. August.
It's mid-August, so we might be.
Usually after they get the August exam, they will, so we really can't discuss
Right,
scores and data.
right.
So usually the September meeting is where we can start to talk, because by the time the August one comes, I think we're right around or after our board meeting. But they'll both do presentations when the scores are released.
Yes, foreign exchange, do you have the housing set up for the student?
So it's through a private business thing already, but yes,
Chamber, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's not through Rotary.
No, it's not through Rotary?
No, it's through a different one, and I've communicated with them and just very clear that we need to have insurance. So yes, there is a family.
Okay.
I've spoke to the family. I explained to the family that, this is a commitment and stuff like that. And, so they're on board. They understand, it sounds like they understand what it means to be a host family. So.
Will the student be here in time if they wish to do sports, if we start in August?
So, yes, I believe so.
But there's probably decisions there, things that have to be done in order for the student, because they aren't coming from Rotary or there has to be some background, because just to get schools in trouble, you have to see if they played at an equal or lesser value or league. If they haven't, they could be deemed ineligible to play on New York State. Rotary and there's a couple exchange student operations that it's all kosher. When it's these outliers, more work needs to be done.
And I think the student may be interested in cheerleading based on my conversations.
How do you choose the family?
So the family chooses to be a foreign exchange student. So they communicated with the company. The company sends us a thing saying, would you accept this person? I reached out to the family to make sure, everything was legit, looked over all the paperwork, and stuff like that. So that was set up before us. And they just wanted to make sure that we're willing to accept the student. We said as long as the student has everything that they're required to have for enrollment. And I did tell them about Mr. Sidden filled me in on the sports stipulations, that we can't make any guarantees until we have whatever paperwork and stuff we need. But as far as the student, she's good to come, all the paperwork signed, she'll be here, I think, towards the end of August.
You said you met the family.
The family who
Here.
has a student here, so yes.
Very good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, good.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? At first? Second, all in favor? All in favor. All right, next up are discussion items. Mr. Siddon?
Alright. So, end of the year summary, 25 and 20, the 25-26 school year is officially ended. We're currently working on ending the 25-26 and starting the 26-27 school year. When students leave for the summer and faculty leave, it's a mad dash reporting. There's a lot of state surveys and state paperwork that needs to be finalized to close out the school year, and that's what Kelly and myself have been working on pretty much since the day after graduation. We had 357 regencies were administered in June. All that reporting, things like that needs to take place. I do want to thank everybody from the faculty, the custodians, the bus drivers, cafeteria, everybody that works here at West Canada. I know April and May were a little rough with the budget. We got through it. Graduation was spectacular. Everybody does a great job. Mrs. Bonnie, Mr. Broadbent, the counselors, the faculty, they all do such a great job. That's one thing since I've been here I've noticed is how nice and official our graduation is. We had 11 different regencies that were administered. Once the embargoes are lifted, both for the 3/8 and the regencies, the building principals will be doing presentations to let you know where we stood. I'm not gonna lie, you know, it is heartbreaking when you see the work taking place, but the outcomes aren't there. And that's something we'll continue to strive. We're never gonna be happy with status quo. We know there's work to be done, and we aren't afraid to get dirty and do the work. All varsity teams were recognized this year as scholar athlete teams. That's a huge accomplishment. It means that the work's getting done in the classroom, and it speaks volume. Our music program had great showing. This year I was fortunate I was able to attend Sherburne, not only as a superintendent, but also as a dad, as my daughter performed for Bonnie Fultonville. I had heard great things. I got to witness it, and it's something that we look forward to do for years to come. You know, but all this stuff that goes on behind the scenes, so our students have opportunity, is I can't speak volumes. You know, I'm very excited and very honored to be a part of this. You know, so the end of the year, we got through it. Next, code of conduct, revision updates. The code of conduct committee met on June 26th to revise the code of conduct. There were some areas that we needed to do a better job, and we'll continue. I have sent you all the code of conduct, and I wrote in your weekly email the pages that we looked at. Page 19, or page 10, we clarified what a superintendent's hearing is and what the process is. Under the state of New York, the building principal can suspend a student up to 5 days. After the 5th day, it must go to a hearing. We use a third party to do our superintendent's hearings here. And a lot of that goes to because we are such a small school that I know all these students. So we use the retired superintendent that do the hearings. Under a superintendent's hearing, punishment can go up to 1 calendar year. So we wanted to clarify that. These are what people have said throughout the year. We take that, we make notes. The second was page 13. We added the expectations and guidance related to artificial intelligence. This is something that's not going away. It's person B is taking a picture of person A and putting it in AI, and next thing you know, we have an issue with Facebook or social media. We needed a way to discipline students that were violating AI and using it in such a way to inflict pain or you know, harassment of other students. And that's something that we did, and I think that you're gonna see more AI-driven policies coming up shortly. It's getting out of control. Page 16 was revisions to the district's tardiness. Remember back in February, we took community input, student input, and we revised it that until your 3rd offense, after your 3rd offense is where your extracurriculars, things like that will be punished. We expect students to be here on time. I know there was growing pains this year, but we saw leaps and bounds of better attendance and better, not so many tardies. And Mr. Broadbent did a good job with data on that. So we're seeing progress. We expect students to be in school. When we look and a student misses 50 days of school, how is that student going to be employable once they graduate? There is a direct correlation between student attendance and job attendance. It needs to be the expectation, not just the, you don't want to go to school for no reason, you don't have to. So yes, we are getting tougher on this, but we expect students to be in the building. You know, it's hard to, teacher gets a failing, the student gets a failing Regents, and the student missed 48 days of school.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a list of impartial hearing officers. Where does the list come from, and when will we use one?
Partial hearing officers would be used during 504 or IEP issues. That's special education. And
No,
that
the
was
hearing officer, you're talking about.
No, the impartial. Impartial hearing officers and superintendent's hearings are 2 different things.
Oh.
no, not a problem. Impartial, the state is generated from, the list is generated from the state. So those are state-appointed, impartial hearing officers that if there was ever to be a hearing due to a special ed situation, whether a disagreement in placement, things like that, those are the people that we would have to contact to do the hearing.
Could you give me, for instance, when we would have a problem?
Student, we have a placement at BOCES, the parents do not want the placement, we know we can't educate here, that would be an impartial hearing. Superintendent's hearings are discipline-wise, behavioral issues, so there is a difference between the impartial and the superintendent.
And who would we use then, you mentioned before?
We use ONC BOCES, we've used retired superintendents that have retired from the profession to do our hearings. And that's through our labor relations, through ONC BOCES that we use.
We've used attorneys as well.
I didn't hear that.
Attorneys sometimes will do the hearings as well.
They let us know who can do the hearing, and sometimes, I love it when an attorney does the hearing, because you know there's no room for misinterpretation. So, those were really the changes to the code of conduct. We will place the draft for 30 days on our website. If there is any community input, or they have any questions, please reach out to Mrs. Ramo or myself, and we'll answer them, but for 30 days, that, at the August meeting is when we will adopt the code of conduct for the 26-27 school year. Next, we have, the district-wide safety plan. Every year, we have to make recommendations, changes to our district-wide, safety plan. The committee met back on May 13th. And this is where we look around the district and we see, this is a plan that we have to submit to state ed. It is a plan that we have to make sure is up to date, and those are things that, as people come and go, we have to replace those. You know, last year, we had a propane leak, and we executed the district safety plan. We did a evacuation of all students to the bus garage, where the elementary got on buses, class-wise, by class, and the middle and high school went to the bus garage. It worked great. Within 4 minutes, 5 minutes, we were all evacuated. We take notes of these things. What works, what doesn't work. We have to be able to adapt to things that don't work. Some things that with the district safety plan, water safety is a new thing at the state. They want water safety, they want students educated. If the ice is frozen and it looks not safe, stay off it. You know, but these are things, last year we had the DEC officer come in and do presentations through 7 through 12. And this is something that will continue throughout. We live near many bodies of water. If you don't respect the water, bad things can happen. And then the music update. We had discussed, you know, partially bringing back a part-time music teacher. We have the room in our budget for a part-time music teacher that would come back, work either morning or afternoon, preferably morning. This would be the music teacher that was laid off in June, or May, sorry. And we have room in the schedule. We have a great music program. We have great opportunities for our kids. Some of those opportunities might not be there if we have to go down to 3 music teachers. We offer the, Sherburne, the Violet Festival. We offer a lot if our students want it. But things are going to suffer if we don't have the staffing to do it. And this is I've worked with Ms. Milfrey on the schedule to dictate, how it would look. It gives our kids more opportunity. Any discussion on, what's the discussion on the music and where you guys?
I'm all for it.
Same here.
I think music is part of who we are as South Canada, and so anything that we keep our program strong, I think would be great.
I agree. I think you look at athletics and what we offer. You know, I think it's very important that we offer to every student and not a select few students here at West Canada. Listen, in great times, I would love to have 4 full-time music teachers. I know tough decisions had to be made, and we had to make tough decisions to get a budget passed. But the reality is, we have the opportunity to bring it back half-time. We can make this work and still offer opportunities to our students. I appreciate that.
It's a given.
Anything for me? I know I threw a lot at you, but, you know, this is the time of year, it's great for self-reflection and understanding, like, the school starts out in September as a marathon. And then you get to April and it becomes a dead sprint to the finish line. And that's what we felt like this year. There was a lot going on in multiple avenues. But again, I thank the board, I thank the administrative team, I thank the faculty, I thank everybody that has something to do, the parents, the students, because without our parents and students, none of this is possible. So I appreciate all the support, and, you know, I look forward to the 26-27 school year.
Question?
Yeah.
With the music position, so that individual will get first right of
Yep.
refusal. If they refuse, would we look to bring somebody else
We
part-time?
would have to look into part-time somewhere else, but they do have callback rights under PAL. Yes, the district safety plan will be on the website for 30 days for viewing too. So if there is any or conversation, anything like that, please reach out and we can have a discussion. Thank you.
So, this kind of goes back to code of conduct. I think this year we had several instances where people created fake social media accounts to kind of spread some misinformation.
That would kind of generate with the AI and using, so we can make some minor changes to the wording, and then we'll get that up there tomorrow.
Okay.
No, I totally, the hard part is you have to be very careful with what's going on outside of school hours.
Yeah.
The other thing is with the code of conduct, and I'm gonna go right out on it, I can't be bashful about this. The cell phones mean no cell phones. It doesn't mean put it in your pocket, put it in your book bag. The cell phones across this building, it got disgusting come after Christmas. And we are going to make it very clear from day one, if you're caught, there are consequences. We had parents calling, screaming and hollering, you can't touch my, the state is telling us they can't have phones in this building. We have lock boxes in every room. It is going to be enforced 100% from day one.
So students won't have an option of,
Put them in the box, and if you're caught with it, then
Well, they never had an option.
no.
I
They
thought-
chose to, we had burner phones put in the box early on. I have one the first day, they forgot to pick up their burner phone. Like, kids are going around their house picking up phones that they aren't using to put in the boxes. It's, if you're caught with a cell phone, there are consequences. You will have detention. The child must complete the detention. We'll give the phone back at the end of the day if they stay for detention. But if the student refuses, it doesn't become about the cell phone anymore.
Did
It's
we,
flat out defiance.
did we update that?
We will, yes, and that will be updated in that. But it becomes defiance. If an administrator or a teacher says, give me the phone, and the student says, I'm not giving you crap, that is no longer about the phone. It's about being defiant toward policies. Yes, we will update that and that.
Because I don't think that
Yep.
was in that. We took cell phones from, at least in high school, and I don't think elementary is as big as an issue, but from 73 different kids out of 300, about 300 kids. Out of the 73, there's probably 20 who had it taken multiple times.
But
Parents
having the
came.
parent call and scream and holler at Mr. Broadbent and myself is unacceptable. We're putting this out there, like, we need the support, but the kids need to follow the directions when it comes to the cell phones.
And they can do them in their cars, where we have a lot of kids that drive. They can put them in a cell phone box, or they can do them at home. So they have all these options, and we have phones, they can call home if they need to. And there's not a time that a parent can't call that they want to get Mrs. Rainbow or Mrs. Gordon.
And they do a
Or
fantastic job tracking the
Mrs.
kids
Pope,
down.
you know, it's within minutes. If you need to talk to your kid, we will get your kid down into the room. And if it's something serious, we'd much rather a parent come through us anyways, so that if it's, like, sometimes there's deaths in families, sometimes there's accidents or stuff like that, that it'd be best that they're with an adult when they find out this stuff, and we can, you know, console them until an adult comes to get them to take them.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have our public comments. We welcome the public comments that are related to the agenda. We ask you to be respectful of time. We ask that you state your name and where you live. Please remember you cannot identify specific staff, student, personnel, or board members. If you need to address a specific situation, we ask you to contact the superintendent directly. No questions? Yes, sir.
Robert Patson from Poland. I had 3 quick questions. You adopted your board policy manual. I assume that means a code of conduct. So you approved that, but you're going to update the code of conduct for August?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the
board
policy
policies.
stuff is, we're going through a complete revamp of all policies. Some of our policies haven't been checked since 2005. So we're using MO BOCES, yes, MO BOCES to help revamp, kind of like how your district has it, where they're easy to follow. And ours were all over the place. So we're looking at, and we're in the process of doing that right now also. It's different, yeah.
When and how do you guys fill your policy and audit committees?
How do we fill?
How do you fill or select who's on your policy or audit committees?
Well, I've been here for 2.5 years. Some of the audit committee for our policies is board members and I have 2 board members, I have 3 administrators that go over those board policies that we're revamping. And a lot of times it's just making sure that they're still up to where they need to be. Code of conduct, I inherited a group of teachers, administrators, board members, parents, trying to think, my
Counselors.
SROs, my SPO.
But I believe there's supposed to be standing committees for the board itself. Policy committee and audit committee. One
The
other,
audit committee is the board, yeah, sorry.
well, it could be the whole board itself.
Yes.
Just as a suggestion, because it's not my place, but it might be helpful for you guys come budget time. It might be helpful to start posting treasurer's report, budget report, or claims audit report out for board docs. Because that way you can say it's been transparent since the beginning of the year, when it comes around time to have a hopefully not as difficult budget. But, I mean, I see you've moved the executive, proposed executive sessions, and that's a good move. I've been to several of these before where I find it rude to be sent out in the hall for an undetermined amount of time. And so I think that's a good move, but being as transparent with money might only help you guys down the road.
I appreciate that, thank you, sir.
That's all, thank you.
Have a motion to go into executive session for negotiations conducted to the Taylor law involving the WCBTA, individual terms and conditions of employment, including matters pertaining to appointments. At first, Janine second, all in favor? All in favor. Motion passed.
Oh.
He did the pack.
We're back. Yeah. we're back.
Okay, welcome back. Next on the agenda, we have, our personnel report. I have a motion to accept the resignation for Mitchell Warencheck, building maintenance mechanic, resignation effective 2 weeks from July 12th, 2000, or June 12th, 2026. Dave first, Pete second. All in favor? A motion to accept the resignation of Kylie McCusker, agriculture teacher, 7/12, resignation effective June 30th, 2026. Shannon first, Ed second, all in favor? Motion passed. Motion to accept the resignation of Claire Joshi, elementary teacher, resignation effective August 31st, 2026. Janine first, Ed second, all in favor? A motion to accept the resignation of Katie Conklin, school counselor, 7/12, resignation effective date September 1st, 2026. Sarah first, Shannon second, all in favor? Moving right along, we have athletics for the fall coaching. Motion to appoint Todd Hoven, head coach, varsity football, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBT bargaining agreement effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Shannon first, Ed second. All in favor? All in favor. A motion to appoint Farron Saris, assistant coach, varsity football, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBT A bargaining agreement effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Shannon first, Pete second, all in favor? A motion to appoint Mike Kerr, assistant coach, varsity football, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Sarah first, Janine second, all in favor? Okay. Motion to appoint Brandon Borowski, volunteer coach, varsity football, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Dave first, Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor. A motion to appoint John Keady, head coach, modified football, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Janine first, Shannon second, all in favor? A motion to appoint Jamie Farrington, volunteer coach, modified football, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Ed first, Janine second, all in favor? Okay. A motion to appoint Dan Capron, head coach, varsity boys, girls, cross country, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Dave first, Shannon second, all in favor? A motion to appoint Chris Pullman, assistant coach, varsity girls, boys, cross country, step 2 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Shannon first, Janine second, all in favor? Okay. Motion to appoint Amy Dammer, head coach, varsity girls soccer, step 5 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Shannon first, Sarah second, all in favor? Okay. A motion to appoint Kyle Shear, head coach, modified girls soccer, step 3 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Shannon first, Sarah second, all in favor? Okay. A motion to appoint Taylor Butler, volunteer coach, varsity girls soccer, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Janine first, Ed second, all in favor? A motion to appoint Jordan Cornacchia, volunteer coach, varsity girls soccer, effective July 14th, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Janine first, Shannon second, all in favor? Motion to appoint Kelly Guthier, head coach, varsity fall cheerleading, step 3 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Ed first, Janine second, all in favor? Motion to appoint Allison Good, head coach, varsity girls swimming, step 3 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Ed first, Sarah second, all in favor? Okay. A motion to appoint Carl Lastamata, assistant coach, varsity girls swimming, step 4 of the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Janine first, Shannon second, all in favor? Okay. A motion to appoint Jacqueline Sandmeyer, head coach, modified girls swimming, step 5 to the extracurricular index of the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14, 2026 for the 26-27 school year. Dave first, Shannon second, all in favor? Okay, next we have, can I have a motion, for Lisa Lawton to be the mentor coordinator as per the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective July 14, 2026 for the 26-27 school year.
What is a mentor coordinator?
She's the one that, with new teachers.
She oversees.
Sorry.
No, the mentor coordinator helps us when we have to present mentors to our new hires. She oversees the gathering the committee, making sure that we have a committee vote on who the mentor is. So she's done it the last 2 years and it's worked well.
Okay, a motion to appoint Lisa Lawton. Shannon first, Sarah second, all in favor? Okay. Do I need to read each one?
Just approve it.
Move that.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the following attachment for the list of advisors for, or for effective for the 26-27 school year? All of them. Ed first, Janine second, all in favor? Okay. Lastly, can I have a motion to accept the individual terms and conditions of the employment and teacher on special assignment contracts for the 26-27 school year as presented. Daphne Ramo, confidential secretary, district clerk. Motion. Each one separate, because it's the name? No? So I just read them all and vote once. Okay, everyone okay with that? All right, so back to it. A motion to accept the individual terms and conditions of employment and teacher on special assignment contracts for the 2026-27 school year. Daphne Ramo, confidential secretary, district clerk. Kelly Crossett, business administrator, district treasurer. Dennis Lynch, director of facilities 1. Felix Ray, transportation supervisor. Todd Holman, athletic coordinator. TOSA. A motion to appoint all of them. Dave first, Janine second. All in favor? Okay, motion passed. Okay. Next on the agenda we have, actually, I have policy updates. Okay. So I also need a motion to accept the memorandum of agreements, the MOAs for 2 for the Administrative Association. Shannon first, Sarah second, all in favor? Thank you. Hmm? And then accept the terms and conditions of employment, that go to that one too. You did, okay, all right, I just skipped that one, all right, thank you, I'm sorry. All right, now on policy updates.
So tonight, we're asking the board we're in the process of updating our policies. We have approximately 8 policies. There's no change in the wording, it's just the numbers. And we'll have the first reading and we're looking at in August to get those up and going. And we will get a new batch, but we're updating our policies. Some of them are dated 2005, 2008. They need to be refreshed, and hopefully when this process is all done, it'll be easier on our website to find them.
Okay, next we have announcements. On Wednesday, August 12th, 2026 will be our next regular Board of Ed meeting. And Monday, August 24th, 2026, a special meeting if needed. Okay, we're going to adjourn to the next executive.
You just have to go back into executive session and then appoint somebody as district clerk per time when you come out,
Okay.
just to close the meeting.
Yep, okay. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to go back into executive session to discuss, end of the year superintendent evaluation. Ed first, Janine second. Can I have a motion to make Janine vice president, the district clerk,